First Things First is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Back here, First Things First. Look who's here. NBA champ Antoine Walker joining us.
Good seeing you, man.
Yes, sir.
A lot going on with your former team, with the Lakers. Let's start with the Lakers. Been a bit good news, bad news for them. Bad, you know most of it, Antoine. They've lost 7 of 10. No team chemistry, no team defense. Questionable coaching. I will stop there.
What's the good?
The good? Well, the Lakers, despite all of that, could still make the playoffs. If you squint and you move things around, all they got to do is jump over a couple teams and grab that last spot in the West, where they'll probably face the Golden State Warriors. But it is still grabbable. Former Laker James Worthy weighed in. He said, it seems like there's a virus on this team right now. Antoine, in your opinion, what has gone so wrong for this Lakers team?
I think, obviously, you got to start from the beginning. The injury to LeBron James really hurt them. I thought they were going to be a very good playoff team at that point. Rondo was playing extended minutes. Lance Stevenson was in rotation. Now you're at a point now where those guys are not even a part of the team anymore, it seems like, because Rondo's now not starting at point guard. I think with the Lakers, Rondo should be starting at point guard. I think you got to have that energy that Lance Stevenson brings you off the bench. I think JaVale McGee's been pretty solid for when he's healthy, he's on the floor. But they've lost their identity because obviously the trade talks, this young group. I told you it was a young group. LeBron took a different approach and didn't really bag them and kind of bailed out on them a little bit too early. And it's costing them now because I don't think those guys got the same goals as LeBron James.
The Rondo thing is so interesting because if memory serves, the last game Rondo started was the game winner against Boston. Game winner against Boston, the big 18-point comeback at the buzzer, and then they trade for Reggie Bullock, and all of a sudden they're starting a no-point guard lineup. Because if you want to argue Lonzo should start over Rondo, fine. Like, I'll listen to that. Yes. But Lonzo's been out. And so Rondo, we know Rondo can be mercurial. We know Rondo can be prickly. And it seems to me that once he got removed from the starting lineup after what was the high point for him of the season individually, he seems to have disengaged. We know that the net rating for the veteran guys has been the problem. The young guys, the guys that everyone is worried about, whether or not they have been emotionally scarred by it.
And have taken all the blame.
Right. Ingram is playing the best basketball of his career the last 2 weeks. Kuz has been pretty consistent throughout. Yes. Lonzo was included in the trade talks, but he's injured.
He's not even playing.
Zubac isn't on the team anymore. So those are the young guys that were at play. I mean, you want to include Josh Hart, fine, but it doesn't matter really. It's Rondo. His net rating has been one of the worst on the teams. Lance as well. JaVale and Beasley's gone now. But those have been those are the 4 worst net ratings on the team. It's the veteran guys who have been right now in addition. I'm not leaving LeBron out of it, but to speak to your point, that have been the biggest detriment on the team.
And it's time to start spreading out some of that blame. We automatically knew it was going to be tough for the younger players because their names were actually attached with it. But let's not forget how this roster was put together. When you get LeBron, you only have a certain amount of flexibility. You go to Rondo, you go to Lance Stevenson, and LeBron is a part of those conversations. You give them a specific role for what they're going to do. Now we get into the trade talk, and we just assumed that it was going to affect just the younger players. But Michael Beasley talked his way out of there because him and the coach had some real words. We know how Rondo is difficult, and now his minutes have been affected. He's not even starting with Lonzo being out, so that has to be a huge problem. And Lance, if Lance is not playing, Lance is no team builder. If Lance is not on the court making it dance, it is not working for Lance. Lance is not the type of player that if you don't have him involved, man, what type of value is he going to bring to this very, very young roster? So I think we underestimated all this trade talk, how it would affect their roster, and especially those veteran players.
I think you make a good point there. When the roster being the way it was with the playoff talk hurt these guys, then they got to look at how they won the beginning. The beginning they played Rondo at the point guard position. Josh Hart was in the rotation, giving them great minutes. So he was hurt right before All-Star break. He's trying to get back on the floor. They just don't have the same chemistry. But I think the talk with Magic Johnson, having them out to Philly, did not work. That was a big thing. That did not work. I don't think that rubbed guys well because the way he talked to them was like, you got to be an adults and accept this. I don't think they hit them well. Then LeBron just changed, went 360 at the All-Star break. Well, we're going to go into playoff mode. When it was just all about trade talk before All-Star game. I just think it's a discombobulated locker room. Things are not on the same page. I think guys are looking at the day they're going to be out of here anyway.
Well, that's the other aspect of this when we talk about what the trade talks did to the young players. And I totally, by the way, while I might not support entirely the players, the actual people they brought in as far as basketball style, the one-year deals were a necessity. You had to keep your max cap space open, right? Like, I understand why you would do that. One of the problems, though, with signing all your offseason acquisitions being one-year deals is if it starts to go the other way, it's real easy to let go of the rope when you know you're going to be looking for a new team next year. When every single guy you brought in was a mercenary hired gun that knows my money is allocated to Kawhi Leonard or to Kyrie or whomever, then if things aren't going well, they're going to start going really poorly. And I spent a lot of the show yesterday talking about LeBron, doesn't look healthy. His defense has been the worst of his career. So obviously, a lot of this falls on his shoulders. But the other aspect of it is when LeBron was out, and even since he's been back, if you have, in my eyes, just competent NBA coaching, you do not lose home to the Knicks. You do not lose home to the Cavs. You do not lose to the Hawks right before the break. And those 3 games by themselves, they're right now in the 7th spot. Those 3 games, they're fine. And so the terrible losses against terrible teams are in the 8th spot, pardon me, a half game out of the 7th.
But you also got to think about Luke Walton, too. He's thinking the same thing like a player. He probably feels like he's got 1 foot out the door, too. So
I expect the coach to be above that.
Well, I think you got to understand how, first of all, he got the job. When he coached and was 39-4, he had 3 All-Stars.
Of course.
And it was a well-oiled machine. It's not hard to coach that. I don't know how much coaching he really did. Now you got to really coach, get rotations. You see some of the things that he's struggling with, getting consistency out of guys, getting guys to play at the max effort when LeBron James was out, the bad losses they have. They have a lot of bad losses.
Can we go back to the veterans just for a second? We talk oftentimes about their net rating, and it's not just the young guys, it's them. LeBron wanted those guys. I mean, those were guys that LeBron wanted, just like he wanted, or there were hints that he wanted Carmelo Anthony. I mean, they haven't all worked out. Do you place any of the blame on him thinking he could get those veterans?
Well, you have to realize now, you're not getting whole food type groceries. I mean, you're limited in what you can spend. Like, there's only, I mean, they need a backup point guard, but there is a price that goes with, okay, who are we going to have? So LeBron didn't select these guys.
He signed off on them.
Right.
He didn't, and that is the key point. LeBron is, and I'm going to say this all week, he's not the general manager, and he's not Anthony Davis's agent. There are a lot of things LeBron is. He seems executive producer, now all of a sudden part-time rapper, it would appear. There's a lot of things LeBron is. He's not the general manager of the Lakers. And if people want him to say, I veto, you cannot bring in Lance, okay, that's one thing.
That ain't true.
Say it again.
That he's not the GM of the Lakers.
But in these decisions,
he went out and picked the free agents this summer?
Magic Johnson's not signing one player without LeBron James saying yes.
I'm saying he's signing off on it, but he's not presenting a list.
Oh,
Go
no,
get
no,
those
I don't
guys.
think that. I think he's waiting on them to call him, and they're asking LeBron James' opinion. Do you want to play with this guy? Is this cool? But they're definitely asking him.
Yes, we agree on that.
I agree that I agree that they are not, certainly Lance, because they had the troubled relationship.
Right.
He has to sign off on it. But it is the GM's job Pat Riley was not going to LeBron James and saying, what free agent should we sign? It's the GM's job to
That's also one of the reasons why he left Miami.
True.
One of the reasons why he left Miami was what?
Because he couldn't control the roster.
Okay. I mean, I think he left Miami because he saw the writing on the wall.
So you think he can control the roster now?
No, that's not the... When you get LeBron James in year number 16, it's baked in based on... Because he knows a lot about basketball. He's got good relationships. And he put that roster together in Cleveland. Now, he made some really good decisions. All right? So he should be a part of the... He's the smartest basketball player we have in the NBA. I would utilize him as a resource.
The last thing I'll say on this, David Griffin, the GM of the Cavs, came out just this week and said how frustrating it was when he heard that LeBron was the GM of the Cavs, that it wasn't true, that it wasn't the case, that it's not how it worked. Now, would he with Miami say, I think I can help us get Mike Miller? Sure, I think there's an element to that. Would he say to the Cavs, we got an extra roster spot, spend it on Champ, spend it on James Jones? Absolutely. And I think he signed off on these moves. But he's not the one executing these contracts. He's not the one, in my eyes, selecting the players.
All right, we'll take a break. Antoine, we'll see you a little bit later on in the show.